Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV here at 5th Cloud Expo. We're in New York City. We have Jason Liu with us, CEO of Univa UD. Pleasure to meet you for the first time, actually, Jason. We've been following Univa UD and we've never met.
Well, thank you. It's enjoyable to actually be here as well.
Congratulations on all the things that are going on with your company. You've been acquiring and it sounds to me like things are going well. Tell people who've never heard of Univa UD where you fit in the cloud computing space.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at cloud computing, the enabling software for clouds, both infrastructure as a service and software as a service clouds, is systems management. That's ultimately behind the scenes what's really driving these rollouts of clouds. And so what we provide is the entire solution stack for cloud systems management, everything from the provisioning layer all the way through the policy automation aspects of cloud systems management.
So who would be a typical customer? I mean, we're talking enterprise level.
Yeah, so we have two types of customers. So the majority of my time is actually focused in the service provider space. So we're enabling some of the largest public clouds that are being rolled out now. So for instance, Wipro, which is one of the largest service providers in the world, we're enabling their infrastructure as a service cloud. We're providing all of the enabling software, everything from the provisioning to the portal to even the service level automation and governance. We also spend about half of our time in the enterprise space enabling enterprises to have a private cloud, and then when they want to on-ramp onto a public cloud provider, we enable that. One of the key differentiators of us is that we've built and architected our solution set so that the same application workload on all of them consistently in the same manner.
So what kind of size are we talking about? Apart from that, you're dealing with massive companies. You've got IP that must have taken some serious manpower to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've been running the company for about 3 years, but the company's heritage was in the grid days. And so, we've been used to running in multi-thousand node and even tens of thousand nodes environments. So grid really is a precursor to cloud. I think there's a lot of misnomers about grid. There's a perception it's all around kind of wonky, parallelization of apps. The reality, it was really the initial kind of stepchild of what cloud is today, and so a lot of the core technologies from grid have now made their way into cloud.
Right, so that's like you can ramp up a lot faster.
Exactly. I mean, we obviously, key things like multi-tenancy, resource management, federating workloads across large disparate environments, those are all key technologies that started out in grid that have been adopted in the cloud.
Huh. What do you see, Jason, sort of big picture now? Because you've got a rather unusual perspective. 3 years almost coincides with, the very best years so far of cloud computing. What did you sense that made you want to be part of the sector? And has it played out the way you thought, or have there been any surprises?
Yeah, I think I have a pretty practical view on it. I mean, I think a couple of thoughts. First of all, I do think cloud is going to be the most transformative technology shift that's happened in the last 30 years since client server. I think it's going to be beyond just the technology shift. What I think really people are underestimating is the change in business models. I think many software providers don't probably realize the changes that are going to have to go on from everything your go-to-market, the pricing, who you partner with. I think in the way it's played out, I would like to say a year ago, I was, I think, quite successful in kind of predicting what I thought it was going to happen. And what I see happening over the next 12 months is the following. I think you're going to see a rush of service providers that are going to be rolling out public clouds. And you're starting to see that. And what it's going to do is create competitive pressure on internal IT within large enterprises to respond with private clouds. And so you'll see about a 1 to 3 year time frame of private clouds being the big force within cloud. But at a certain point, somewhere in the 3 to 5 year point out, you'll see that the price points are going to be so low and the security concerns are going to be alleviated that you'll start seeing a tipping point, and you'll see a kind of a mass adoption of public cloud somewhere in the next 3 to 5 years.
This is very precise prognostication.
Yeah, and it's not just me that says that. I mean, there's a book called the Switch, which is, I think, talked about the evolution of the electricity market, and there was an initial response of private generators, and then about 3 to 5 years out, it flipped over to public utilities, and we're definitely seeing that same thing. We work with a lot of the large service providers, and what I'm seeing and working with them is we're starting to see price points 1/10, 1/20th of what an average enterprise can deliver, and 3 to 5 years out, that's going to be 1/100th, 1/1000th of what an average enterprise delivers. And the other thing that they're going to do is they've kind of alleviated a lot of these concerns around security with concepts that they call private clouds within service providers, which are really kind of dedicated or semi-dedicated environments.
Now, how will exactly that trajectory you've just explained, how will that affect Univa UD? I mean, favorably, we know, but what specific?
Yeah, one of the other aspects of cloud that I didn't talk about in us is that, we obviously there's 5 kind of major building blocks of a cloud stack. There's the provisioning and monitoring, and then there's the portal, and that increasingly you'll see a lot of competition there. But where we really have a lot of differentiation is what we call the brain, or the service governance, or the SLA management, which is, as these clouds start developing, service providers are going to realize that they're going to have to differentiate their offerings through service levels. And the challenge is there needs to be an intelligent agent that's making a decision on how you prioritize service levels, and then how do you bring those service levels into compliance, meaning if you have 1,000 or 10,000 nodes, which servers get provisioned in what order to bring that service level into compliance. And it's currently being done manually, and we have a product called Reliance that's doing all of that intelligently.
So you feel that's a huge growth. I mean, who the heck will want to do that manually?
Well, exactly, and you can imagine all the various permutations is ultimately decisions of where workloads are going to reside. There's going to be thousands of service providers. There's going to be private. How do you decide where a workload is going to reside? It's going to be price. It's going to be compliance. It's going to be location. Are all going to be determinants. Something's got to be making that in a consistent way, and being able to do it at scale and dynamically. And so trying to have a human person try to manage all that is just not going to be scalable. So,
what do you expect, Jason, out of a show like this? What does Univa UD try and extract from something like Cloud Expo?
Oh, certainly, this has been a great show. I mean, we came in here with expectations. They were fairly muted, and we've been exceeded. I think what we've really been surprised with is how mature some of these prospects are.
Yes.
It's gone from a year ago when we were at shows where there was just a lot of science projects. Now there's actually discussions of production, and that's been quite a pleasant surprise. So certainly we view this as a lead generation and business opportunity. But the other aspect is this is an area where you get to bond with other cloud companies where it's a tight community, and so you get to exchange ideas and compare notes and kind of reconvene conversations you've had. So it's a good kind of meeting area for a lot of the folks here.
You're making us feel all validated. Oh shucks, we're going to be all blushing now. But thank you so much. We must continue obviously following the Univa UD story as we will from show to show. You coming to the West Coast with us?
I will look to do that, yes.
Quite right. That's the right thing, as will the viewers. Thank you so much, Jason, Liu, and thank you for following this out there on the World Wide Web.